Hey everyone, welcome back to Biz Talk for TikTok. Today in the studio, I have Chris Ivan, and Chris Ivan is known on TikTok for his plunger trick shot. Now that sounds crazy. A lot of you who have been listening to my show might think, Kyle, why the hell would you bring some plunger trick shot guy onto the show? We all see those interesting videos that catch our attention. But I went to this comment section like we typically do on TikTok, and there were so many brands in there being like, do our sign or being hilarious and joining in conversation. And I thought that was a really interesting opportunity to talk to Chris about his experience with that and talk about where the shift on how brands are starting to have fun with their audiences as well. So, Chris, welcome to the show and give us a little quick bio of who you are.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here. My name's Chris Ivan, and I just started doing the TikTok thing. And the things that really gotten me the most attention that now I'm becoming known for has been the plunger trick shots, just with the most generic, cheapest plunger ever, throwing that thing up on signs. And it's gone absolutely out of control.
That's amazing. Okay. And a lot of guests are probably thinking, did you just start your first video throwing plungers?
No, no. And especially not the very first video on the account. I just made the TikTok to have fun. Then that original idea for the TikTok isn't even my idea. It's just I saw somebody else do it and then I thought it was funny, but I didn't know if it was possible
Right.
because I'm like, some people are really good video editors and stuff. So I'm actually curious about this. And right around this time, I had lost my job because the pandemic was right when this idea first came about. And so I couldn't work. And then I was also recently single at the time. So I was like, I have just an abundance of time on my hands. So I was like, I wonder if I could get a plunger up on the side.
That's hilarious. You know what's
So,
funny is like that
yeah.
conversation right there. There's a lot of people that were in that same position. They're like, the pandemic really changed their entire life. And they're
Yeah.
like, now what? And so many people turn to TikTok and just doing silly things and then it leading into really interesting opportunities for them. So I always think the pandemic is a bittersweet moment for a lot of people because you saw it, you thought it was cool, but did you ever think you'd be in this position where you would be having millions of views throwing a plunger at brand signs?
I'll tell you what, personally, I'm always a big dreamer.
Mhm.
There's a little bit more to the story as well. And I was at a birthday party with one of my friends. We were at this girl's birthday party, and I had 2 White Claws in me, right? And I was feeling good. And as a joke, I turned to him, I was like, "Dude, let's get TikTok famous." Just oh, and I was messing around, and I was like, "I'll do anything." I was like, "I'll jump off a bridge if I need to." Right?
Right? You're
But
just joking around, yeah.
yeah, and so then the next day came and I woke up, and I was like, "Shoot, it's actually a fun idea." And so I called him up. I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of serious about it. Would you be down?" He's like, "I don't want to be in any of your TikToks." He's like, "But I'll record you, and I want to hang out with you because he's my best friend." So I was like, "Sweet." That's when we started doing stuff, me and him, and that's how it all started going from there. So originally, did I think the plunger thing was going to take off? No, that was more of just us messing around, but with the intention of seeing how many people we could reach with a video.
Was it almost a little uncomfortable when you first went to do it? Okay,
Oh,
my
yeah.
question is, did you ask permission the very first time or you just went for it?
Oh, I went for it. I was telling you, I was sweating bullets. It was like and it was definitely a period of trying to expand my confidence and being cool with trying random videos and stuff. The time that I was filming that video is I started getting comments on TikTok of people giving me random challenges, right? Somebody commented on my video to go and do that Elf scene from the movie Elf, where he runs into the coffee shop and they're like, "You did it, best cup of coffee in the world." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
right. So just looking like an absolute idiot, and they asked me to do it at Starbucks. So I was like, "Shoot, I'll send it." Like go to Starbucks and I'm dressed in the whole elf costume and I do it and I like leave the video and I'm checking my TikTok and somebody says throw a plunger on target, and that and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, for sure. So I go up on there and I start doing it and I'm like, I hope there's no damage, anything done right because I don't want to make any brands upset at the same
Right,
time.
exactly.
So I started throwing the plunger and I could see that when I threw the plunger, there was no damage on the sign, right?
Mhm.
It's like, it's a pretty light plunger. I'm playing with it. It's sticky. So I'm like, okay, everything should be fine. I'm not throwing this as hard as I possibly can. Like,
Yeah.
in a way, place it up there. And so then I started doing that initially. And the very first target I went to, 5 minutes went by and they're like, hey, people are walking into our store and saying you're throwing plungers at our sign. They're like, we can't have you do that. I was like,
Right.
"Yeah, sure, no problem." So then I go to the next Target, and I'm really determined at this point. I'm like,
Yeah,
"I really
exactly.
I wanna see if it's possible." Then the next Target, I'm in Portland, and so that first Target that I was at was in a nicer neighborhood, suburban area.
Yep.
So there's a different crowd of people, right?
Right.
But you get into Portland where the main theme is the slogan, "Keep Portland weird." And so then I'm out there throwing a plunger outside of Target and nobody says a word. So I was like, "Okay, cool." 30, 45 minutes go by, and me and my friend are taking turns at this point trying to get that initial plunger up on target, and it's just not happening, and we were about to give up. And if you listen to the original video, you can hear me say, "I don't even think you can get it." And I launch it, nails it,
Yeah.
and that's why we were so hyped as soon as we hit it.
That's hilarious. And you can see the reaction too. You're like jumping. That's like an authentic reaction.
Oh, definitely, yeah. 'Cause we didn't know it was possible. We had said to each other, "Let's try it for 10 more minutes and we're done." Like, they must
Mhm.
have ended that thing. Yeah,
That's so funny. So it wasn't a success for the first store, which when I think of somebody doing that, you think all brands are going to be like, no, please don't do that. You're destructing property or creating some weird name for our brand. But to
yeah.
your surprise, when that Target video went out and it's at, what is it? Oh my gosh. How many
6
views is that
point
video at?
it's 6.2 or something.
6.4.
6.4, yeah.
6.4 million views. That obviously is going to get attention from thousands of Target employees, but not only just that, but corporate people on the
Yeah.
app who probably saw this and like, "Wait, what's happened to our sign?" But
Yeah.
it's caught a lot of attention, and on that video, Target responded.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to that?
I was absolutely losing it. I was like, "This is not real. There's no way."
And they were hilarious. They commented something like very Gen Z vibe, very
Oh,
fun, like
yeah.
TikTok. They were like, "Can you do it again?" Because I was walking my fish, which is so funny. Like, not
Yeah.
not only did they just get involved with the video with their brand and being totally okay, but the way they responded was such a TikTok vibe, which made them look really cool. I think
Yeah.
people, especially like the Gen Z culture or even younger millennials, are probably like, "How cool was that of them to do
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And if you go and you see all the responses to their comment, you'll see a lot of people saying like, "Target passed the vibe check," like, "I'm shopping
Yes.
at Target from now on," this and that. So it actually worked to their advantage, not only from a massive reminder of their brand, but also passing the vibe check
Yes.
where those younger generation says, "Cool, I'll go shop at Target."
No, 100%, and I think that's where the shift is going, especially Gen Z. They're holding a new expectation for brands, like, "Are you gonna fit our vibe? Because if you don't,
Yeah,
we're not going. If you're not fitting our vibe, like, we're gonna go somewhere who is." And these brands that
yeah,
are understanding how the audience is shifting, they're so smart. So
yeah.
whoever's on that marketing team probably, contacted, got approval to be involved, and then you were able to go back and do another video on their sign. And for this secondary video, when they responded, were you able to get permission from the store at that point?
Yeah, so that second store, it was funny because I walked up there and I was like, "Okay, I don't really know how to handle the situation. I don't know what I'm doing." So I'm like, but Target asked me to do it again, so I'm gonna try it, and if I can hit it quickly, I can be done and out, but if security comes out, I'll ask to speak to a manager and show them these messages and whatnot. So that's exactly what happened. I started throwing those plungers. I'm getting really nervous because I'm like, I know that the time is coming. If I don't nail it, security is going to be out here, and I don't want them to kick me out. And it's funny because I'm doing this in parking lot, right? So there's
Right.
customers walking in and out, and the reactions are like 50% silence. Nobody says anything. The other reactions is probably like 25% of other people recording me, and the
Yeah.
other 25 is people hyping me up. And
Right.
they're coming out and they're like, "Dude, that's funny. We love it," etcetera. Then security came out and I was like, "No, Target commented." And then I go through my videos. I was like, "Look, they asked me to do it again." And they're like, "No, we just can't have you doing that." But I'm like, "No, seriously, can I talk to somebody?" Target asked me to do it again.
Yeah,
In my head, I'm like, "This is such a great opportunity because if Target can get involved, then I can get the next business involved and the next one and the
for
next one.
sure.
I'm like, this can snowball. Then I can make this into a brand and I have a
Yeah,
lot of
like a whole
content.
series, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminded me of that Emily girl that did the
Emily
rebranding before.
Zugay. Oh my god, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a page from her book and go after it."
For sure.
So after 5, 10 minutes of talking to security, I finally convinced them to bring out a manager. The manager comes out, he's like, "I saw you on my For You page this morning."
That's hilarious.
And yeah, and he opened up his Slack channel. I guess they have a group chat. He's like, "You're all over the region. Everybody's been sending it back and forth in our entire company talking about it." So
That's
then,
so cool.
yeah, so then they were really cool about it, and they gave me their media team's phone number, and they said, "We just want an official letter from the media team saying everything's cool,
Yep.
and then you're good to go." But everybody's so chill about it because they know it's kind of funny. They're like, "But if you did do it, I wouldn't say anything."
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, sweet, sounds good. I'll make sure I get that for you. But in the meantime, if it happens."
Yeah, in the meantime, I'm gonna go, practice. Yeah.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned about Emily Zuge, she was genius in that. I had a girl on my podcast who's actually in the Portland area as well. She goes by Naples on TikTok, and people are trying to guess her job. You've probably seen her. She's done all kinds of videos where she's been a cheerleader for the Colts, and then she also worked with
Yeah.
Betty the Bull. She's doing all kinds of jobs, but what kicked off that story was she was wearing scrubs and then was doing a TikTok, and they're like, "Wow, being a nurse and there's probably people you're taking care of, but you decided to make a TikTok." And then the next video, she saying, "I'm not a nurse," and then people were guessing what her job was, and she
Oh.
ran with that idea and just snowballed for there. So people are still trying to guess to this day, and it's been like over a year, and she's done all kinds of cool things with it. On TikTok, I always tell people, ride the hell out of that wave,
Yeah.
because eventually maybe it comes to an end, and then you have to think of a new idea. But always ride the hell out of that thing until you can. Why not? And it's opened up an opportunity for you because if you go to comments, there's a lot of other brands, and Wendy's commented, right?
Yeah.
So who was the next brand after to get the attention?
Wendy's was the first one, and then Taco Bell got in there, and the next biggest one, in my opinion, was American Dream.
Yeah,
So
American
the
Dream.
Yeah, American Dream, that one was huge because I flew across the country for that one, I flew to New York for that one. Then,
Really? And was that
yeah,
like their team set that up for you?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy, isn't
it
that?
was so cool, they gave us, like, the whole VIP experience, and it was just absolutely amazing, it was so much fun. Ever since then, there's so many different, like, DMs. I know Slim Jim is so funny. They just opened up their
Right?
TikTok in there. They're, like, in every single video, and it's been sweet, and I know I have another, company in Portland now that wants me to go there, so that one's convenient, it's just the odd places.
Right? American Dream is such a great example of where I'm saying the shift of media and entertainment is going because
Yeah,
doing an ad, like American Dream could do an ad, right? And
yeah,
wouldn't be as fun. This is such an interesting way that is gonna get people to pay attention to the whole thing and see the logo, but knowing like American Dream stepped up to the plate and was like, "This is so unconventional, but we're gonna roll with it because let's be fun. Let's be real and
yeah,
cool." And the perspective now of the audience is like, they participated with this. That's sick. Like, I wanna shop there. What do they do? What kind of items? And you probably drew a lot more awareness of the brand than even just run paid promotions, I bet, like crazily.
yeah, yeah,
That
definitely.
and Wendy's, they commented, you threw the one on Wendy's sign and it got on the mouth area, you know?
Yeah,
And they're like, "Dope toss." The mouth though, who knew where that Plunger's been? And just like,
right.
just being really funny with it. And I have brands or businesses that do listen to this podcast, and I always tell them being involved with your customers or consumers or whoever is so beneficial because people
Yeah,
read those comments. And if you can put a little funny thing, it is such a great way to also get new audience and get people's attention. And seeing that you're
yeah.
interactive is so powerful.
Yeah, that's been one of the really cool things about that American Dream experience, right? Because
Mhm.
me, that was a company that I had no idea they existed before. And then they reached out to me, and then so they're even funny in the DMs because they DM'd me and they're like, "Do you think you have what it takes to plunger us?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I'd be honored." And I had no idea what their company was or what their business was, but it was also like a really cool creative challenge for me to see, hey, now, if I'm gonna be in this creator space that I absolutely fell in love with, how can I bring the most value to not only the audience, but the business?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about it from that perspective. I was like, okay, I didn't know what American Dream was, right? Everybody knows what Target is because it's just a national brand, but American
Yep.
Dream is very niche in that specific
Yep.
sense of if you're in that area, you can go there. Were you familiar with American Dream
No,
before?
not at all. Not at
Yeah,
all.
so exactly. So it was like, okay, if you don't know what American Dream is, you don't realize how massive of a project this is. I was like, how can I do this? I brought some friends with me to help me create a story around what their brand was, what it
Mhm.
meant, and showcasing it with the use of plungers.
Right.
That happens. That was just a whole really cool experience. And it was the fact that not only were they super cool when they were commenting things of where people started liking their comment, getting really excited. I had other people waiting for it. But now the people after having posted that video and it did excellent. I think it has 1.7 million views now.
Mhm.
There were so many comments of people saying, "Wow, I need to go here. This place looks so cool. This would be awesome." Some people are saying, "I've been there before." I have other comments of people saying, "I saw him do this. This was so exciting." And all these comments are now building all this hype for this place that a lot of people felt like needed a lot more attention for what they
Exactly. Mhm.
yeah,
And it was all organic communication. As a brand, that's what you want is, like, people talking about it in a fun, positive experience versus seeing an ad, really another ad. I don't wanna see
yes,
you. You actually just pissed me off by ruining my video or something, putting some stupid ad here.
yeah,
But something like that is just funny, it's engaging, and I love that brands are starting to open up the opportunities, and their corporate people must be getting younger, I swear, because they're probably like,
yeah,
"Yeah, let's do it. I love it." A great example is, I don't know if you've seen Ryanair on your For You page before, but they're a European airline, and they have over 1,000,000 followers just as an airline
yeah,
because they're hilarious. They target Gen Z in such a funny way, and they don't even talk about, like, their price,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they don't need to talk about that, they just need to be fun, and then people are like,
right,
"I only wanna fly Ryanair because it's relatable," like, they relate to them as, like,
yeah,
a human being, so I think brands are starting to figure that out and be like, "Okay, we actually have to fit in as a creator or
yeah.
be funny as well. Just because we're a brand doesn't mean we can't do these things," and that's so cool. What was one of the favorite brands that you did get to throw a sign at?
Oh, for
I
sure,
mean, a plunger,
Walmart.
sorry. Walmart,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Walmart. Not only because it's the most viral one, now it's 14 million views. It was
Right.
the most difficult, and for that reason, also the most rewarding. What was interesting about that one is the very first time I tried it, I was having a friend hang out with me. He's like, "Chris, you should step up your plungers and make it more entertaining and keep bringing more value." And I was like, "I really should." And Walmart had been possibly the most requested one behind McDonald's, which I still
Mhm.
haven't done McDonald's because I'm trying to contact them and make sure like
Exactly, get them to be on board, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the cool thing about Walmart was I looked at all these different Walmart signs. I was like, how am I going to do Walmart? Because they have the little star,
Mhm.
but they don't have a plastic bag. So my brain was thinking, put one plunger in the center of the star.
Right.
And I was driving out of Lowe's after I bought my plungers. And then that conversation I just had clicked in my head. And I was like, shoot, I should do all 6 points on the star.
Yeah.
So then I walked up into that Walmart. I was like, "Hey, listen, I know this sounds crazy. I make these viral plunger videos. You got to let me do it." Again, they were like, "Hey, listen, if you did do it, I don't say anything."
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. "We'll be in here, we can't see you." Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I did it, and it was literally an hour and a half of effort,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say how long that take? An hour and a half?
yeah,
Holy
because they
smokes.
kept going off, and so like
Right.
hit one on, the next one would fall off. It took so long, but eventually it was this group of like I don't know middle school kids. They had just left school. It was a group 15 of them. They were all standing behind me, cheering me on. There were people driving by saying, "Hey, I just saw you do Starbucks or this place or
That's
that."
so funny.
Yeah. So finally, after I hit it, it was just so rewarding, so fun, and has now the most views. So it was just
Yeah.
awesome overall.
And has Walmart commented at all? Have they gotten involved with that one?
No, they haven't.
Not yet,
It,
okay. I'm assuming that they might at some point, though, because I see them around TikTok quite a bit, and maybe they just haven't
yeah,
seen it, or maybe they're talking with corporate within their little Slack groups and seeing when they should comment or say something, but I
yeah,
have a feeling that as it progresses, they will reach out, and McDonald's I get what you mean, you're snowballing it, and you want brands to comment now to be involved,
yeah,
to get that extra hype, because it does look
yeah,
so much more cool when it's from the brand itself. It
yeah,
looks
exactly.
so much more fun.
I think that also serves to the brand's advantage because the
Yeah.
number one concern a brand has is vandalism, right? Nobody wants to promote vandalism, and that's the thing that I am trying to fight against in a way. Why I changed my TikTok bio to say I always have permission before I do this,
Yes.
because I don't want to promote vandalism. So I think if the brand themselves says it, it also has that like subconscious connotation of okay, you can go do this thing, but you have our permission, so nobody else don't go vandalize our stores.
No, exactly. And
Yeah,
yeah, I noticed that in your bio that you say that because I think that is important because then other people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw eggs at her," or whatever. You're like, "No, no,
yeah,
no, I made sure it's not damaging sign or property."
yeah,
And also look at the comments. You can see the brand's actually giving me permission to do this and moving forward. And American Dream was a great example. They actually
yeah,
help supply you to go to their stores and be able to have fun with that. Going that way is very smart and protects
yeah.
you as well from other people being like, "Chris was my inspiration to vandalize." Businesses. So, like, no,
Yeah.
that was really good. I saw even an employee getting involved. Was it Snap Fitness?
Yeah.
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 So they came out and was like, "Let me give it a go."
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's hilarious. I love
And,
that.
also the Taco Bell employee did it with me.
Oh,
That's funny.
cool.
And also the American Dream people did it with me. They
Cool.
didn't wanna be in the final video, but they pulled up with their own plungers. They were having a
No
show.
way.
So fun, yeah.
So you buy your plungers from Lowe's. So Lowe's listening in right now. If you're listening, like, your plunger sales are gonna go up.
Yeah, I called them, they haven't called me back. But if you go on their website, the plunger I use says it's trending.
No way. Is it really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
right?
That's so funny, it's trending now, yeah, like, plunger sales have never been this high. The
Yeah,
like, corporate is like, "Why are all our plungers sold out?"
seriously.
That's so funny. You should do something fun on the plunger, like, make a little face or I don't know, like, that you could, like, brand
Yeah,
it and make it something interesting to get people's attention and wanna buy that specific one and maybe get your own plunger design or call
yeah.
it a funny name. There's so many things that you could do now with that series and just be more and more creative. I noticed that audiences love to be involved with creators, and I'm like that too, where you comment, "You should do this," and so your audience, I'm sure, is really excited and probably gives you some ideas and things
Yeah.
like that, do they?
Yeah, I only really do videos that my audience suggests. I find that to be the most rewarding for myself to a certain extent because I don't have to come up with the idea. If it fails, it's not my fault. So
Yeah.
other part is I think it's also really good because then people know when I respond to comments, I'm not kidding. I might get hundreds of comments a day, but I actually read all of them.
Yeah.
And until I get thousands of comments a day, I'm probably going to keep reading them every single day. And so I'm actually involved. I try to respond to a lot of people. And then I think it builds a really nice community of people,
Yeah,
then they
absolutely.
are following me on other places. I get sometimes they email me and I'll respond to their emails. What I love to do can't happen without any of them. So I am genuinely grateful for all of them. And then it inspires more comments and then better ideas. Somebody just had the idea, what I thought was funny. You brought up Ryanair. Somebody said, go do it on a private jet. And I'm like, that's genius because I would have never thought about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, when I'm talking to brands and stuff, I'm like, "Look, create content on there too because if you're fun, the audience is gonna start giving you ideas that you would never even have thought of. I had a guy on my show, he has a product called the Scruffy, and it was a neck shaver. It looks like something from Saw. It's actually kind of scary looking, but it's like a
Yeah.
neck shaver. When he started on TikTok, he was really promoting it for that, but the girls were like, "That thing looks like it's gonna save me time on my legs." And because of that and that snowball effect, his business
Yeah.
went from decent sales to, like, skyrocketing because
Yeah.
it changed to more of a women product. Basically, it's like a rubber thing, and then it has 6 regular blades on them, so when girls are shaving their legs, they only have to do, like, twice, and their
Oh,
whole leg's done.
yeah.
But he never even thought of that, but because he
Yeah.
brought it to TikTok and was like, "Let's just try to make some content here," his audience was, like, giving him product development ideas, so it's like having a whole
Yeah.
team sitting there, like,
Yeah.
and for
Really is.
free and just brainstorming crazy ideas.
Yeah. And I think it's such a cool thing because you'll have millions of views or thousands of views, and then you'll get all these comments, and it essentially gets filtered down, and then people will like these comments. So then you can see, oh, which one does this audience potentially think it's best, and then you get that payoff if you post another video. Then people genuinely love this idea, and I feel like it just cuts your research and development time and maybe money that you'd have to spend in other ways.
Mhm.
And it's just from people just commenting their ideas. So
Right?
your whole life just way easier.
Yeah, totally. What I'm hoping to see happen at some point because Emily was on Jimmy Fallon's show and things like that, but it'd be so funny if you went out to some sort of billboard and had to throw one right in the middle of Jimmy Fallon's head or something for his
Right.
show. Like, that would
Yeah.
be so wicked, and then that could lead to so many opportunities because there's billboards out there galore of celebrities and stuff and hitting him right in the
Yeah.
middle of the head. There's so many crazy cool things that you could do with this and have fun with it, but I think a lot of brands this is gonna be our new norm where they're almost feel more of a friend versus just a business we shop at, like, Target now feels
Yeah.
like a little bit more like they got the vibe there, and it's just super cool.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes a difference. Even since Slim Jim has been like the most fun, right? I feel like the life hack is that you essentially found a way to build a relationship, a brand that has a relationship with each individual because that individual does feel like that brand is somehow your friend
Mhm.
because you read their comment just like you would read any friend's comment. Because you're a friendly brand, I'm going to go to you. And I think that's like a big thing for my generation as a whole. You want people that, are fun. I feel like what my generation and the Gen Z and like the millennial generation really wants is a society built on like kindness and friendship and
Mhm.
almost adding like the loneliness that can come from being so separated.
Yep,
And these brands stepping out of their way to show friendship just through simple comments and stuff is
exactly.
it nails on
Exactly.
buddy. Yeah.
And it makes you realize there's people behind it as well.
Yeah.
So it humanizes it and makes you realize, you know what? There's some cool people that work there. We see fun Slim Jim comment too. Like next time I go to the store, if I see one, it's probably going to catch attention and be like, I'm going to buy a Slim Jim. I haven't bought one of those in so long, but now it's top of mind. What's funny is because they're involved in the comment section and making funny things, you might tag them in a story post that you would never even have thought to tag them before, but you might be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, hey, Slim Jim," like, or do something hilarious with it, and now it's getting your community to use your product, but also share and talk about it. That's what you
Yeah.
want. Like, that's the goal.
Yeah. It's a really awesome experience because also in the same breath, you don't want the opposite of that. When you have the opposite of that, it's like I actually had a girl that worked at Walmart reached out to me saying how
Mhm.
disappointed she was that like Walmart hadn't commented on my video yet. And she was like, "It's probably a boomer with the TikTok account." She gets it because she's from this generation, and she's like, "Okay, it
Yes,
would be so good for them to be involved," and it just creates such a good image and
totally.
sales prospects for every brand that is taking advantage of the new world that we live in with social media.
Yeah, I've seen them on TikTok. I've seen them making some pretty good comments sometimes. So maybe they just haven't got to yet, or maybe it's in the works, or maybe they just have to get a couple approvals to go ahead and say,
Yeah.
yes, we can approve this. These big brands have the craziest legal teams, and they probably have to get approval for them to say,
Yeah.
yes, we can comment to show that they're giving permission. I'm assuming though that they would come around at some point, but I think it's going to continue to go. And like you said, it can move on to other things like maybe objects or people who like maybe there's a company that
Yeah.
does own private jets and they're like, try to hit our jet or come throw it at a race car going by or something like there could be so many crazy cool
Right.
tricks that it moves toward. Maybe at a basketball game, Benny the Bull invites you out and you have to hit the back of the scoreboard. Maybe you and him have to compete on each side trying to throw the plunger right in the middle of the square.
Right.
Like, there's
The
so
free
many
throw
cool
line together.
yes, exactly, on each side, and everybody's hyping you up, but it's just a fun way to bring attention and excitement and getting people involved that's, like, good, clean fun. Now that you've been appearing on my For You page and I've engaging, I know I'm gonna be seeing your content a lot more and really excited to keep up with what's happening in this space, and I will do my part as well to see if I can get other brands' attention to get excited and be involved.
Yeah, definitely. I love it because I do think it's fun. I also think it's an interesting dynamic to watch for the audience to see a creator and a brand working together almost as friends, right?
Yes.
Because it's different than a sponsored post.
Yes.
And the stuff going on, the videos that I've been producing has just been me having fun with a brand, which is
Yeah.
completely unheard of.
No, exactly. You never
Yeah.
hear of that, and like you said, it's like them being a friend, and they're, like, part
Yeah.
of these communities now, and you do think of the brand, and I'm just
Yeah.
so glad the times are shifting and the new expectations are being held on these brands to have fun with us, and we don't wanna see all your branded content. Let's just be friends and do cool stuff together, and that, I think, will change the game a lot of ways.
Definitely. I think it's that big feeling of people not wanting to feel sold. Like you want it
Yeah.
to be a poor decision, and that
Mhm.
friendship is a long way because I agree with you completely. You're talking about the Ryanair now. In my head, I'm like, if I get a Slim Jim, I'm tagging them.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah,
Exactly, and you never would have thought of that before. You would have just been like, "Hey, I'm eating a Slim Jim," whatever. You wouldn't even have thought of that.
right.
And you know what's funny? Like doing these podcasts and talking to people, when I have products, I've been testing it out and tagging brands in my post. I had these like they're called moon cheese.
Yeah.
I love those things. I don't know why. And I tagged them and then they contacted me and was like, "Did you enjoy them?" And they reshared my post. And I'm like, "Oh, these brands are excited too when you're wanting to
Yeah.
share." They're like, "Oh, our customers are interacting with us. This is so cool." And I had another brand send me out this huge X Shot. They're like a Nerf competitor.
Oh,
They sent out
yeah.
a giant box, and we set up this giant inflatable, and they put a
Oh,
pump and everything in there to pump this thing up. Of course, we shared the hell out of that, and if they took the first step and became a friend or being involved, I think more people would do that and share their stuff all the time and be
yeah.
excited to share a Slim Jim in a story post or on
Yeah.
TikTok or something.
Definitely. Because I also think there's a little bit of that recognition that comes and the joy that a person feels when a brand that have now invested money into
Mhm.
actually acknowledges you, right?
Right,
And they
yes.
treat you like a human. You're just
Yes.
like, "Heck yeah, I'll buy your products all the time."
Yeah, no, 100%. Like American Dream, for instance, now you're a fan of that brand and you're gonna
Yeah.
always talk highly of it or say, "Hey, look,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have you heard of them? Like, you should go." And that's how that snowball effect happens. Like, you tell somebody, then they enjoy it, and it just keeps going. It stems down, like you just said, being that friend, being a part of them, and noticing them and saying, "We made a connection." And that's huge. I love this story, and this was such a fun conversation, I think is really, really important. And who knew that this topic or conversation could come from as simple as a video of you just wearing plungers as a sign. There's so
Right.
much more to it that you've now opened up opportunities and doors, and it's super cool. I love TikTok for that and how that's opened up so many things. Chris, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything you want to share before we wrap this up at all?
I would just really emphasize that point of having fun with the brand. And if you're a brand listening to this or you're a creator or anybody listening to this, it's just so important to have fun, especially during these times. If you can just focus on having the best time possible, I think that's where everything stems out of.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
fun brings out the best authenticity in us as well. And I
Yeah.
think that's why it's so relatable to all of us when we see these videos and we have fun and enjoy it as well. It's our new entertainment and it's here to stay. And brands definitely can be a part of that. There's a space for them. There's a space for you brands that are listening right now. There's a space for you. Come have fun with the
Definitely.
community. That's what we want. Chris, tell people that are listening right now, if they may have not seen you, how can they come follow you on your social channels?
So Instagram and TikTok, it's Chris Ivan underscore 10. And on YouTube, it's Chris Ivan.
And for those of you listening right now, you can go to the description notes of this podcast episode. Just click that. I have all the links so you can go follow him quickly. I'll also throw in a couple links to some of his top viral videos. And if you want to go back to the podcast and listen, you can follow along those videos at any point. Chris, thank you so much for your time, man. This was such a valuable conversation, and it was really fun to get to know you and get to know how the plunger tricks shots started.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely.